Hello and welcome. I hope everybody's doing really well today. My name is Alyssa Kartheiser. If you are here with me live, just say hello in the chat and welcome. So today I wanted to talk a little bit about low back and hips. And so most idiopathic, and that means it doesn't have an actual diagnosis. Most idiopathic low back pain and hip pain, I believe, is postural. And a lot of us sit a lot for work. And there's a muscle called the psoas. It's a really strong hip flexor. And it originates on the spine, on the spinous processes of the lumbar vertebra, and inserts on the femur. So when we bend our legs, this muscle is, or when we bend our hips, this muscle is what we're using. And when we sit a lot, this muscle gets shortened. The psoas gets shortened and also tightened. It gets short and tight when we sit a lot, and many of us for work sit a lot. And so when it gets short and tight, our pelvis tilts anteriorly. Let me use words that are more understandable to most people. But so our pelvis tilts, and that makes the curve of our low back, which is called the lordotic curve, it makes that curve more pronounced. And that can cause pain. And also often our abs are not as strong as they could be. So our back is not being supported. And so the pelvis tilts, the lordotic curve, the low back curve gets more pronounced, and this can lead to things like bulging discs. And so sitting a lot is not great for our bodies. So anybody who sits at a desk all day or drives a lot. I had gotten an injury at one point, a chronic pain situation from a time when I was driving a lot. And it wasn't so much my low back, it was more, well, I guess it kind of manifested in my low back, but it also manifested in the front of my hip. So there are a lot of things to think about when you're thinking about low back and hips. So trying to keep your pelvis slightly tucked, not really tucked, but just like trying to extend those vertebrae a little bit. So you tuck your pelvis just a little bit, and that really helps to take the pressure off the discs and the low back. So that can help. And also strengthening your core, things like plank. Everybody loves plank. And if you do sit-ups, like you don't need to sit all the way up, because that gets more into psoas, and that tightens the psoas more. But things like plank are really great for strengthening the core. And let's see. What else was I thinking of? Yeah, stretching out the psoas, so like doing a lunge type of thing, and stretching out the front of your hip. And also just getting up and moving every half hour to hour if you work at a desk, or stopping and moving around while you're driving if you're driving a lot. Movement is so key for not being in pain, because when we're still, then our muscles tighten up in the position they're in, and that is not great for our bodies. So just getting up and moving as often as you can, if you can, like do shoulder circles, hip circles, just trying to get out of that one position that you're in so often. And so sitting, right? Your hips are bent, and often we're not in a great posture. We're slumped forward, and that just exacerbates the problem. So just think about that when you are going about your day. Think about what your low back and hips are doing, and see if changing what you're doing, like tucking your pelvis just a little bit, doing planks, stretching out your psoas, moving, see if any of those things help. And if you want any more ideas about that, get in touch with me. And I offer one-on-one sessions, and I would be happy to help you work with your posture and with tapping and emotions and about pain. And so if you're interested in that, you can say me in the chat, and I will get in touch with you. And I hope you have a great day, and I will see you next week. Bye.